Good morning, everybody. It's about 20 minutes after 7 a.m. Pacific time. Now, I'm doing this video to talk about, as you can see on top of the title, TNA Lockdown from last night. I was going to try to talk about it last night, but I was just so tired, folks, I couldn't do it. My body just did not allow me to stay up and talk about TNA Lockdown, but it's good. I will say this. I downloaded it in an MP4 format, which means I may have to download it in AVI format later on so I can record it. I'll watch it directly on my DVD player and then record it to DVD, or I can just do it this way too. It doesn't matter. But the one thing a lot of people, will agree upon with lockdown is it was a lot better than they expected. In fact, some people say it's a lot better than WrestleMania was, and I try to give, people, honestly, I guess it was maybe in a way match quality-wise, but set-wise, nah. It wasn't as good as WrestleMania set-wise, but set and lighting-wise, of course it wasn't that good, but match-wise, maybe it was. But some of the other matches maybe not as good, Maybe some of the other matches were, I don't know, shit, as some people put it. I haven't watched the pay-per-view completely, folks, but I can say this. Whatever the matches were, like I said, folks, I haven't watched the entire pay-per-view yet. I can say this. From what I saw, people are saying some matches were not as good as they should be, and some were. Some say that the two matches that saved the show were the Lethal Lockdown and, of course, Angle and Jarrett. Well, of course, Angle and Jarrett, no matter how you look at them and feel, Jarrett shouldn't be in the ring anymore, Angle shouldn't be in the ring, no matter how much you look at it, no matter how much you say, these guys can still put on a good match. Now, again, people have their different opinions about it. They all, like I said, they feel Angle and Jarrett in the Lethal Lockdown match worked. Some feel as though that, but like I said, some have their opinions about Lockdown last night. Some feel as though the three-way world title match should have been last. But then again, maybe it shouldn't have been. You got to think about this. If it's three ways, and it's just something that popped out of nowhere, it's just being centered on right there for the world title, then yeah, the world title is your main centerpiece of your organization. But sometimes you always want to put more emphasis and focus on something that's been going longer. Some people say that Lockdown was better than WrestleMania. Well, let's talk about WrestleMania. Last year at WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, not this past year, not a few weeks ago at 27, but last year at 26, what was the match that went on last? Exactly, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. That match went on last because it had emphasis, it had a story behind it, it had a longer build. In fact, it had been building for over a year, if you will. And the fact that it had, like I said, it had emphasis on it and also had somebody's career against the streak. So you got to think about that. Something that's been building a year for a year off the previous WrestleMania, building and building and building towards next year's, or towards the following year's WrestleMania, and then adding in the emphasis that you have one person who wants so badly to add in the streak and prove he's better than The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and that he is Mr. WrestleMania, that he put his career on the line, That's main event material no matter where you look at it. The same goes with John Cena and The Rock for next year. Rock's scheduled to make an appearance on May 1st, on his birthday, in Miami. So think about that. He's going to be on Raw on his birthday in Miami. And Miami is the home of what? Exactly. WrestleMania. And you see, that's exactly why the Lethal Lockdown match was last night at Lockdown. Because it'd been a longer build. It's been building since the day Immortal formed. Even when Fortune was a part of the group, it built since the day Immortal was formed. That's why it went on last. And also, if you're going to have AJ Styles return, then that's how you do it. You don't say, okay, we're going to put this match on second, all of a sudden have AJ Styles come back, literally help that match steal the show, and then you end it with an 8-minute three-way for the TNA title. Doesn't work that way, folks. I mean, I'm not a wrestling expert, I'm not in the wrestling business, but as a fan, I just know. That's not how it works. As a fan, you want to get your money's worth, and your money's worth usually is for the match that the event is named after. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know some other people have other complaints about the pay-per-view, and some have some favoritism to show towards it. Some say that the matches that opened it up, the four-way tag team match, the X Division Escape match, they say they were pretty good. And they say Matt Morgan Hernandez was good. They said some of the matches were okay, but then when you got to Madison Rayne and Mickie James, that's when it kind of dropped off a little bit. Well, let me explain something about Madison Rayne, Mickie James. TNA isn't stupid, just like WWE isn't stupid. They know what each other is doing. That's why you see both companies trying to go in this direction, trying to outdo one another, even though they won't admit it. You see, TNA notices that WWE is trying to put more emphasis on the Divas division by focusing on more wrestling, women wrestlers, and less on the sexy part, if you know what I'm saying. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means real simple, folks. TNA notices this and they say, you know what? Bullshit on that. We're going to prove them we're the real place of women wrestling. See, what do? They take a injured Mickie James, supposedly. Well, I guess she is probably injured a little bit, not much. And they have her beat Madison Rayne with under a minute. Basically, that's TNA's way of making a statement towards WWE and anybody else that thinks TNA's Knockouts division is becoming a Divas division. That's how you make a statement. And also, they had to play off Madison Rayne becoming so cocky and arrogant that she thought, oh, if I just touch your injured shoulder, you'll fall 1, 2, 3. That's about it. Now, what's going to come out of this? Real simple. Madison Rayne will probably get her rematch, but there's going to be something on the line. You see, she told Tara last week on Impact that Tara was her bitch. I've got a feeling something's going to happen. I've got a feeling that Tara's either going to go to Bischoff or Hogan and is going to get a stipulation added for Madison's rematch. Or she's going to get her contract revised. Or, there's 3 ways this is going to go. Madison's going to get a rematch, and Tara's going to have her agree to the stipulation that if Madison doesn't win, then the roles get reversed, and Madison becomes Tara's bitch. 2, Tara decides to join Immortal, maybe, and Madison is on the outside looking in, or vice versa. Or pull the old fine print out of the hat trick. You know the old fine print out of the hat trick? basically have terrorists show Madison her contract and say, hey, read the fine print, see what that says. It states if you ever lose that title, I'm no longer your servant. I'm no longer your bitch. Or something like that. I mean, folks, it's obvious. They took the title off Madison for a few reasons. One, Lockdown's one of the biggest is the first major pay-per-view of the year. They want to make a statement in some ways with some of the matches, and with this one, they wanted to make a statement that they're not a rip-off of the Divas division. They're not becoming a Divas division. And two, they want to try to put Madison probably back into the role of maybe a follower. I'm not sure. But that was what they did last night. They wanted to make a statement, and they did that. Now, some people have a problem with Jeff Jarrett winning his match last night against Kurt Angle. Hold on for a second. And I can understand that. You know, the Slick Daddy, Steve Breach, and a few others all have a problem with that. Well, let me explain. You see, this is all this. You know, I'm not a strong supporter of TNA. I'm a fan. And I always hope that something positive is going to come out of something. And I believe and feel that what's going to come out of this is Karen Jarrett's going to be revealed as a gold digger. I hate to say that, folks, but that's why I feel it's going to be heading. The old, oh, by the way, your wife just marries off and goes with guys because she's a gold digger. She's a power-hungry gold digger. She don't care about you. That's exactly what it's going to be, folks. I could be wrong. I pray to God I'm wrong. But I don't honestly. I don't think I am, folks. I don't think I'm wrong, folks. I feel that's what it's going to head towards because eventually this is going to turn Jeff Jarrett face. I know Schleg Daddy doesn't like to hear that. I know Steve Breach doesn't like to hear that. I know some people don't like to hear it. But like I say, there's a method to the madness at TNA, and even though it may not make sense, that method is that Jeff Jarrett's going to turn face. That's what it's going to be, folks. That's what it's going to be. And the seeds, folks, have already been planted. We just don't know it. And if we do know it, we haven't been noticing. The honeymoon deal they did at Victory Road at Universal Studios, that's one part. That's one part of the seed. The next part of the seed, well, it's really going to blow your mind. And let me check my time. Like I said, it's really going to blow your mind because that second seed, it's already been planted. In fact, it's been planted for a while now. It's called the network. That's right. You know, they're asking the question, who's smartening up the network? Who better to smarten up the network than the one guy that never really wanted you there? The one guy that's on your team. Think about it, folks. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, why would the network know just about everything about Immortal? How would they know so much about Immortal? How to stick their nose in their business if it wasn't somebody close to the action? Think about it. Think about it. It's got to be Jarrett. It's got to be. I'll be back in a little bit.